Hello everyone, I'm back again today with another terrific Tuesday card. My name is Sherry Minnie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Keensburg, Colorado, which is a small rural town about 45 minutes northeast of Denver. And today we're going to be making a card that features a set that I absolutely love. It's a bundle, and I like everything about it. So the card we're making is just a generic all occasion type card, but you could make it into any sentiment that you would like. And it features a lighthouse on the front, and I just said consider yourself hugged, and then on the inside it says may your day be filled with love and happiness. The designer series paper that we're using is a 6x6 pack, and it's called Scenic Coast. And there's several, well actually 6 patterns, but a lot of them feature a sun, or as it's either rising or setting, I don't really know, but that's what I was trying to kind of center my focal point around, was the sun and the sunset going down. So here's one I made in Timid Tiger, here's one I made in Strawberry Slush. So you can, there's so many colors, you can make it in just about any colorway that you would like. So here is the bundle that we're using. It's called Sunset Coast. I don't think I really used any of the sayings. I've used these sayings in lots of other cards that I've done, but I did use the die, and the die that we're using, this is my little template for centering. The die that we're using is actually over in my studio, so I guess I better go get it. Hold on just one second. Oh, Sharon, why do you do that? I don't know why, no matter how hard I try to get everything over here from my studio, I never seem to accomplish it. So here is the die that we're using. It's the one that features the lighthouse. The only suggestion or tip I have on using this lighthouse is you want to make sure that you have it straight on your paper that you're going to be cutting out. And I kind of go by the windows to get them straight. And I'll show you that when we get to the packet, and I'll show you all the materials. We're also using phrases and frames stamp set for the inside. I think I used may your day be filled with love and happiness. And let's see, I don't remember, sorry, I don't remember what stamp set I used for the greeting on the front. I'll put that in my description so that you'll have that, but I don't recall what it was. There's some small ones here that you can use also. So here is the designer series paper, and I've used a ton of this, so I don't have a whole bunch of it left. But again, it's called Scenic Coast. It's a 6x6 paper, and I've used it before. And as I think I've showed you before, it's got this kind of, I don't know what you would call that, clear coating on it, so it looks like the shimmery water. And there's lots of different patterns. I've used a lot of them, and I don't have very much left. But as you can see, there's so many different colors that you could do. This one is kind of like a marsh, and I haven't used that one yet. And here's the blue one that I think we're using today. So that's the paper, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It is available on my online store if you have any interest in looking at it or ordering it. My online store is sherryminnie.stampinup.net, and all these details will be on my blog later today. It's called simplylovestampin.com. We're also using, for a punch, we're using the 3 banner punch, and I used this one here for the front sentiment. For ink colors, we're going to be using, for this particular card, I'm using Balmy Blue, and we'll have Versamark because we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So therefore, for the heat embossing, I have my Wow White embossing powder. And then for the embellishments, I'm using, this is the sequins that go with this suite and matches the paper. They're called Sunset Sparkle Sequins. And as you can see, I've used most of them. There's another orange that I've used all of them. This is kind of a reddish orange. This is the blue, and then it had like an iridescent white. And I've used almost all of them. Let me see, I'm going to grab a quick drink of water here, and then we'll go through our packet, and I'll show you everything you need for the card. This is card class week, and this is a card that we will be making in our class this week. So you have your envelope as always. Now I kind of jumped ahead of myself, but you'll have a balmy blue card base. It's going to measure 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You'll have a piece, 2 pieces actually. Let's see, is that true? No, I'm sorry. You'll have 1 piece of basic white. This happens to be 3 3/4 by 5. This is for the inside layer. You'll have a basic black piece that also measures, well actually this one measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. This is for the front of your card. You'll have a piece of basic black that is 3 by 3 square, and this is the piece that we're going to be using to cut out our die. And like I said, this is the one you want to make sure that you have your windows going up and down as straight as you possibly can get them, so it doesn't look like when you're finished, you don't want it to look like your lighthouse is sitting on a hill. You'll have a little piece for your embossed saying on the front of basic black, and this is about 3/4 of an inch, just a scrap of whatever is available. For the envelope, we have a piece that's about 3/4 by 4.5, 5, whatever. Doesn't really matter, just a scrap. And then for the inside, I have a little scrap that is, I think, about 3/8, but it can be anything. Actually, this is about 1/2 of an inch. That's going to go on the inside. So, as I was saying, this will be going on the front, and you will have a piece, and this is where I jumped ahead of myself. I went ahead and put it together without really thinking about that I didn't want to do that. But here's the piece of basic black, and then this is the piece of the designer series paper that we used. And this is what I used this template for, because I wanted to make sure that I had my sunset or my sun wherever I wanted it. So I placed this on my, I'll just show you real quick. That one's not going to work. I didn't cut these correctly, so they're a little bit wrong size. But so I just took a piece of my designer series paper. I placed this on it and moved it around to wherever I wanted my sun, to make sure I saw my sun. This one, I cut it too short, so that's why I didn't use it. And then I just made a little pencil mark on each side, and that's how I cut down this paper, making sure that I have this in the center. And then the other pieces I could use for the inside and for my envelope. So once you get this part on, then you're going to take this and you're going to run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which I have already done. And when you get that run through, then you have your piece that looks like this. And all you're going to do is now you will see here, I have put a ton, and I mean a ton, of dimensionals, only because this is very flimsy and I did not want it to sink in. And then, as you know, I'm kind of anal about these things. I put a lot on anyway, but I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay. So first of all, we're going to work on our our inside piece, which I have not done. I actually realized what the heck I was doing and made myself stop. So I have my inside saying on my, pardon me, as I always do, I get a froggy throat when I start to do a video. And I'm going to take my balmy blue, which is the same color as my card base. And we are going to, first of all, take our piece of basic white. And what I do is I pick out a spot. So I do this on the 2-inch line, and there's some little pegs here that hold your grid paper down, and I line up my card next to those. There is another place you can do this, but for my purposes, I found this to be just about as easy as any. And then I have these magnets. These magnets are great. They're very strong, but they got this little flap thing on them, so you can pick them up real easy. And I hope our lighting is not too bad. I see it looks a little dark on my end, but maybe it's not too bad on your end. Let me turn a light here and see if it'll help. And it is a bright sunny day, so I wouldn't think that it would be too bad. But we'll make do. Hopefully when I actually upload it will be lighter. So anyway, I actually use 4 of these. It's not necessary, it's overkill, trust me, for this particular thing, because I don't think I'm going to have to stamp it more than once. So I'm just going to ink this up. And the nice thing about the Stampin' Up! Positioner is even if you get, as you can see I have ink here, it's not going to transfer to my card base, so I don't worry about cleaning it off. And then all you do is you just push it down. I'm not putting hardly any pressure. And if it weren't the way I liked it, I could just ink this again, put it down and stamp it over, but it's not going to be necessary because that looks pretty good to me. And then that stamping, and then we have one more little bit of stamping to do. And that will be on our little piece of black. And actually I'm going to close, I have my ink pad open over here, I'm going to close it. And we will take our Versamark. We will first take our little static pad to cut down on the static when we put our embossing powder on. We will take our, excuse me again. I don't know why that happens to me every time I start to do a video. And then we will, and I'm really stamping this upside down on purpose because it's easier for me when I go to punch it out the way the punch is laid out. We'll cover that up, and I think that's all the stamping we're going to be doing today. And then we're going to take our embossing powder and we'll take our white, and this lasts forever, so you don't need a whole bunch. That's why it looks pretty empty in this container. And I usually do it twice. This is the new, it's, well, kind of new. It's Wow, called Wow Embossing Powder that Stampin' Up! Came out with, and I do like it. It seems to be brighter. And then I just have a little paintbrush that I keep to get any extra flecks off that are on there that I don't want to show. And then if I had my heat tool over here, as you know in the past, we would run this through the heat tool. And then when you get done, you would take your punch and we would stick this in our punch and punch it out. I'm not going to do that because I haven't heated that up yet, and I don't want to ruin that one. I can use it for another one. And when you do the punching, you end up with this. So we have both of our, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the piece that we, our inside piece, and I want to put this little bit of designer series paper. And for that, I'm going to take my green cap glue, and hopefully I did not test it, so I'm hoping that it'll work. Excuse me just a minute, I'm going to have to clear my throat again.